board in public for the purposes of conducting the school corporation's business, and it is not to be considered a public community meeting. Excuse me. There will be time for public participation as indicated on the agenda. Visitors requesting permission to address the board Visitors requesting permission to address the board on a specific agenda item should sign in before the meeting starts on a form that's located at the board table. The board requests a discussion time limit of 3 minutes on any specific agenda item, and we ask visitors to make only one appearance per item. We ask those addressing the board to speak from the podium and state their name and address. Board Policy 0167.3 dictates that personnel issues will not be addressed. Concerns about individual employees of the district should be brought to the superintendent or designee. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. The Board of Trustees respectfully request that those guests and visitors in attendance be courteous and silence their cell phones. Thank you. As customary, before we call the meeting to order, if we please bow your head for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, as we get into the springtime and the close of school and other school season, please be with us over the next month. Busy times, joyful times. Be with our seniors as they're enjoying their last year, and just be with all the teachers to give them the patience to get through this last year, or this last month of school. If you could be with our country, be with the troops that are fighting and supporting what we stand for. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance, Michael.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. We have a quorum present. Mission statement, Mr. Herr.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
Thank you. Good news. Dr. Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wire. It's my pleasure to present to the board this evening several items of celebration. First, our Lebanon High School concert band and concert choir groups both received a gold rating in the performance and sight reading at the Indiana State Music Association meeting this last weekend, and so our congratulations to all those members that participated. Also, we're pleased to say that Lebanon Community School Corporation will be receiving some additional positive media coverage this week. One, looking at our bus stop arm cameras. As we've talked in the past, we have been one of the more proactive corporations in the state, taking the initiatives to install and follow through on bus arms. And so Fox 59 television will be riding a bus, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking for Ms. Totterud. Yeah, and so that we'll have some positive coverage there. Along with that, too, we continue to have a lot of good support with our SRO program and local law enforcement, but that's a good positive media. And then local TV station CBS 4 is doing a positive piece on our building trades program and looking at how we've prepared workforce development in skilled trades and construction. So compliments to Ms. Totterud for her work, and then also for all those folks that are involved in doing the good things in our school corporation. That attracts media to come for good reasons, and we like that as much as we can. And then it's my pleasure, it's that time of the year where we start to look towards the end of school, and with that, one of our more enjoyable traditions is naming Teachers of the Year. So at this time, it's my pleasure to name the six school level Teachers of the Year, and to extend to them congratulations for their recognition for their outstanding work in their classroom by their peers and colleagues. From Harney Elementary, Miss Susie Boyette, kindergarten teacher, will be representing Harney and was selected as their Teacher of the Year. Miss Megan Bushman from Perry Worth Elementary has been selected for there. Christy Fisher from Central Elementary, Patricia Patmore, art teacher here at Lebanon High School, has been chosen by her peers to be their representative for Teacher of the Year. Miss Barb Springer, music director and instrumental instructionalist at the middle school for now 20 years, is recognized as Lebanon Middle School Teacher of the Year. And Miss Megan Stewart, special needs from Hattie B. Stokes, has been selected by her peers to be representative of Hattie B. Stokes and Teacher of the Year. Each of those teachers will be considered for the presentation of the Dwight B. Cragen Superintendent's Award for Distinguished Teaching. That's presented to an individual teacher or a staff, and so we'll be reviewing those applications and looking at those hard achievements. That's probably one of the toughest decisions that has to be made at this time of the year. And they will be recognized on May 7th at the Teacher Celebration, our 13th annual Teacher Celebration. So I'm very pleased to announce that. With that, I want to remind everyone here, please, a lot of great activities going on at all our schools, everything from Field Day to Honors Day to Top 20 recognition. And of course, our commencement exercise here at the high school is just an outstanding into the school year, and where we recognize our seniors from this year's graduating class. And so for any activity that's happening at your school or any school in the corporation, please go to your school's website or go to the Lebanon Community School Corporation website, and all those activities, locations, dates, and times are posted there. So it seems to move very quickly from this point forward as we head towards the end of the year to commencement on May 31st. So we're excited about that. It's my pleasure to present those activities and recognitions to the board this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was also a very nice article in the Reporter today on some students with their art projects. Was it at Thorntown they were at?
Yes, it was. It was last Thursday evening. Thank you, Mr. Hurt.
Very talented.
It was an excellent display. Our seniors, and as well as our some of our culinary art students. It's an annual presentation that Ms. Patmore, representing, and Mrs. Merritt from Culinary Arts, were out there, and it was just nice. It was took up the whole second level of the Sugar Creek Art Center, and some just beautiful arts of displays, pieces of art, everything from photography to oil paintings to watercolors. So it was an exciting time. So thank you. Yeah, I had the pleasure of going there, and Mr. O'Rourke and I were kind of enjoying the artwork together that evening. So thank you.
And today is our daughter's birthday. More good news.
Ms. Beltran, you left that off my good news. We need to talk about that.
I got to put it in the minutes. I just letting everybody know it's my daughter's birthday.
Could we sing happy birthday?
Should we? Is she watching?
Imagine she is, yes.
I'm sure she is.
Well, congratulations, proud father.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I have nothing, I can't top that, so I have nothing else to report with
Does
good news.
anybody else have anything else?
My birthday's in June.
Yours is in June? Okay. Okay. Item agenda number 2, approval of the board minutes, or approval minutes for the March 19th regular meeting.
Make that motion.
I'll
Do I
second.
have a second? And all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Motion carries. Number 3, certified executive session content for March 19th and April 9th, 2019 executive sessions. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa. All those in favor, or any questions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Audience to visitors, we have nobody on the audience to visitors. So, Tiger Pride, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Wary. As has been our tradition this last school year, we take this opportunity to recognize students and members of our faculty, staff, and community that contribute above and beyond academics. And I've asked Mrs. Scott this evening if she could present us with our Pride recognized winners this evening. So, Ms. Scott.
Excited to celebrate our Tiger Pride champions for the month of April. We'll be recognizing the students from 5th, 8th, and 12th grade that have been demonstrating persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and efficiency in and outside of their classrooms. We'll begin with Lebanon High School, and the recipient this month is Carter Ridge. LA LHS is very proud to recognize Carter Ridge as a Tiger Pride champion. Carter exemplifies all aspects of pride in his approach to school and his post-secondary life. He is always highly respectful and makes a point to support others. His optimistic and friendly attitude toward others is noticed and appreciated. He has blossomed this past year.
Gonna make you stay.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. He has blossomed this year as part of the Precision Machining program. He has become an ideal ambassador for the program as a standout student and role model. He has embraced the opportunity provided in this program and is using this opportunity to springboard his post-secondary future by continuing his education at Vincennes University following graduation in precision machining. Congratulations, Carter. LHS is very proud of you. Next up is Lebanon Middle School, Cayman Huntsman. Cayman exemplifies Tiger Pride. He is a quiet leader who leads by example. He is on the 8th grade PBIS group where he demonstrates initiative, dependability, and efficiency with great ideas and regularly volunteers to help with activities. Cayman is also very respectful to teachers and fellow students. He shows persistence in the classroom by maintaining high scholastic grades in athletics while playing basketball. LMS is proud to recognize Cayman Huntsman. Congratulations. Bryce Jones is representing Central Elementary. Bryce is a leader who constantly displays all the characteristics of Tiger Pride as well as the 7 habits of highly effective people. He is a well-rounded student. Academically, he excels. He also displays great sportsmanship and thinks win-win in and out of the classroom. Bryce is proactive and dependable. Anyone who knows Bryce knows they can count on him. He's responsible, dependable, and extremely efficient. In fact, he has not turned in one homework or classroom assignment late all year long. Bryce treats all of his classmates with respect. He has initiative and drive to do anything he sets his mind to. Bryce, congratulations on being selected as the Central Elementary representative. Lexi Mitchell is representing Harney Elementary. Lexi has been selected as she exemplifies all the traits of pride. She is aware of what is required to be a successful student and a successful person and is consistently pushing herself towards the goals that have been set for her and those that she has set for herself. Lexi is a leader at school and helps mentor all students in all grade levels to learn what it means to have pride. She not only demonstrates pride in the classroom, but also by her participation on the Harney News Crew and the Girls on the Run program. Congratulations, Lexi. Nia Pibbins from Hattie B. Stokes. Nia's teacher, Heather Burris, stated that as a result of looping, she has had the pleasure of seeing Nia grow and change into a mature young lady over the past 2 years. Like many students, Nia faced academic and social challenges in 4th grade. At times, last year, she showed that she could be persistent, but not on a regular basis. As a 5th grader, her teacher has seen a big shift in Nia. She has increased in her efforts, and even when faced with difficulties and setbacks, she's continued to persevere. Because of her resilience, she has grown as a student and as a member of the school community. She has overcome obstacles in her way, which has allowed her to develop the skills necessary to be a leader. Hattie B. Stokes is very proud to celebrate your accomplishments and recognize you as their Tiger Pride champion. And rounding out the 6 buildings is Jackson Cadell from Perry Worth. Jackson continually demonstrates determination and takes pride in his work. Jackson's teacher, Mr. Waywood, shared that Jackson was dead set and determined to make the A honor roll. Not only did he turn in every single one of his assignments, but the quality of the assignments showed that he cared and the attention that he put into his work last grading period. He constantly asked for updates on his grades and what he could do to keep moving forward. He showed that he cared, and that effort is a rare quality, especially in a grading period that is tough as the 3rd quarter. Although Jackson did not make the All-A honor roll, he did succeed in making the AB honor roll. The first thing he said to his teacher afterwards was, "Well, I have another grading period to get there." It is for these reasons that Jackson Cadell has been selected to represent Perry Worth as their Tiger Pride champion. Congratulations. You guys will step together and we'll get a picture. Dr. Taylor.
Very quickly, and I know we've got some other commitments, but I want to recognize these young men and women. When we have a room like this and we take pictures and that creates memories, but really what has happened and what we're recognizing is not just a memory of how well they do, but their day-to-day contribution to themselves, to their school, to their classmates, and to our community. And those are things that you probably don't think about as you go down the hall. When you say please and thank you, when you open the door, when you do your work, when you say I can do a little better. And so not only are we here to recognize some awards and accomplishments, but we really are here to recognize the future and how these young men and women and what they do every day contribute. And how they not only contribute to themselves and improvement that they see, but how they contribute to their classmates and, as I said, to their school. So I also have to say, this doesn't happen on their own. And I sit here and smile because I see parents and friends and significant others and grandparents and aunts and uncles and principals and teachers and school board members who smile because they know in some small way they maybe help to contribute to the recognition that these 6 individuals are here this evening. And so I want to thank you. It's one of the highlights for me. Mrs. Scott has brought this Pride initiative, and our building principals and our staff have worked towards creating something beyond reading, writing, and arithmetic. Creating young men and women with opportunities that allow them to become the adults that we all hope will lead our future. And so for all the families and all the friends and all the little brothers and sisters that are here, I want to thank you. And not only do I thank you, but I thank each of you. I think they deserve one more very, very well-earned round of applause.
We are also excited to recognize and celebrate a Community Tiger Pride champion. A Community Tiger Pride champion is a community member, parent, business, or organization who is an asset to LCSC and displays persistence, respectfulness, initiative, dependability, and/or efficiency. Lebanon High School is pleased to recognize Mr. Harold Balmer. Harold has been a wonderful asset for the students and staff at LHS. He comes in for lunch every Tuesday and sits and talks and listens to students. He serves as a mentor for many students and has provided support for our students over the years through his involvement with the LHS Listening Post. Harold is a member of the Crisis Intervention Team. He provides counseling support when our school is a crisis situation. He is a retired chaplain from the Boone County Sheriff's Office, and he uses his experience and training to support students and staff during crisis situations. He has served as a staff member for every 15 minutes and is frequently visible at school and community events, providing encouragement and positivity to students, staff, and community. Harold has been involved directly with Lebanon High School for over 10 years, and he consistently demonstrates all attributes of pride as a very valuable volunteer at LHS. Thank you, Harold. You are truly an asset to our school community.
Far be it from me to turn down a chance to talk. I just told Dr. Taylor I taught for over 40 years, and this is honestly the first school board meeting I've ever attended. Well, I've never been honored like this before, and I've never been in enough trouble to get called before the school board. So. But I do thank you, and I really enjoy my time here. It's great to interact with all these good kids. Thank you.
I think it's an opportunity that we've had to witness. There's a circle of life in every family. And these 6 young men and women that were here this evening benefit from the contributions that people like Harold provide. And I bet if you would ask Harold, or people that come to school, they likewise benefit from their interaction with these young men and women. So, goodness continues to be done. Goodness and good things continue to happen to good people. So for all of our recognized contributors this evening, I say thank you and appreciate all they do. Thank you for the school board for allowing us to have it. This is not my first school board meeting after my 40 years, so I'm somewhat envious of Harold. Thank you very much, Mr. Wary.
Harold is very deserving of this, and because I've been very fortunate to know Harold and his brother Richie and his mom and dad, and very, very good family, and congratulations, Harold, you very deserving.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wary.
Okay. Agenda number 6, consider agenda for routine business matters. Mr. Tate.
Yes, I'd like to first report to the board and the community. We had bus inspection last week. 100% passed through, first time through. A lot of accolades to all involved, from the drivers who do their daily inspections to catch things, Becky, the director, and the secretaries, and most of all our 2 mechanics who are on top of things every day, all the time. And just want to show our appreciation to them. They do a great job.
Yep.
Second of all, we have completed State Board of Accounts audit. It was completed a couple months ago, but it's now allowed to be public. And we had an excellent rating. Mr. Wyrey sat in on the exit interview. And we had 2 small notes. One of them was a document that only had 1 signature on it, which was mine, and it was supposed to have 2. So that was part of internal controls. And then another one was the reporting of the food lunch program. I reported all the income, and I was only supposed to report the federal income. So those were our 2 notes. I'd like to give big accolades to Jennifer Rice, because they did a deep dive into our food program, and they found absolutely nothing. Everything was compliant. All the reports were there. All the checks and balances were there. So all in all, an excellent report. Very proud of the work that Melissa and Brittany and Kelly do on our behalf of the business department, make sure we have everything in line and all the documentation is there. That helps anytime we go out with a bond rating with the S&P review is our audits, so that helps with our interest rates when we do go out for the bond rate. So there's lots of pieces that fit together there, so I want to thank all the people involved with that. Tonight I report our financial report. As of the end of March, we've completed 1/4 of our calendar year. Our educational fund has expended 23.73% of our budget. Operations fund at 17.19% of our budget. At this time, I'd ask for approval of claims numbered 48087 through 48281, and the payrolls dated March 29th and April 12th. The claims total $1,668,843.29. The payrolls total $1,569,915.44 for a total of $3,238,758.73. Ask approval of those at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Can I get a motion for approval of claims for payment 48087 through 48281 and payrolls for March 29th, 2019 and April 12th, 2019?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Herr.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
I will say real quick on the audit, that was my first time that I had went through one of the entrance and exits. The president sits in on that, and it really does come to that the business department does a great job for our corporation, because they spoke very highly of everybody in the office, so that was great. Wouldn't expect anything less, but that to hear that firsthand was well worth it. Thank you. Agenda item number 7 for routine staff matters. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Warrior. I bring to the board for your consideration and review this evening items under classified employee, certified employee, some staff communications, and also the extracurricular count. I would ask the board take these as one consent agenda item. This evening, under classified, we present 3 classified employees for recommended employment. That's 2 instructional aides and a food service worker. Again, these are replacement and not additional positions. Under certified employee this evening, it's with regret, but a sense of honor that I bring to you the retirement letters from 3 of our long-term employees. Miss Barb Springer from the Lebanon Middle School staff and instrumental music has submitted a letter of retirement. Miss Tricia Patmore, a Lebanon High School art teacher and sponsor of the aforementioned art fair that we had at Sugar Creek, and long-term Lebanon High School teacher, and Mr. Mick Malakovic, our Lebanon High School Industrial Arts Tech teacher and CTE with Project Lead the Way, have all submitted their letters of intent to retire for board's consideration this evening. Under then our staff communications this evening, Mrs. Solomon, principal at Hattie B. Stokes, is recommending both Brooke Abney and Susie Kruger for a temporary contract for a Title I teaching position that is funded through the Title I program. And then under ECA this evening, Mr. Phil Levine, athletic director at Lebanon High School, is recommending the approval of Miss Mindy Spalding for the Lebanon High School fall and winter head coach cheerleading position. Mrs. Spalding is also a nurse at Lebanon Middle School. I bring those for the board's review and consideration this evening.
Thank you. Agenda for routine staff matters. We'll consider them all one. Can we get a motion?
Make a motion.
Michael? Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Lisa. Any questions?
Do you have any idea how many years of retirement you're with, Mick and Tricia and Barb Springer?
I know right off the bat, Barb has 20. I looked at that. I believe Trish, Mel, do you recall?
19.
19?
19, I'd say 18 or 19.
And Mick, 17.
17. A wealth of experience.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda number 8.
Thank you. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Lynn O'Brien, although she needs no introduction, a longtime staff member here at Lebanon High School. Lynn was recently awarded a Fulbright Teachers for Global Classroom grant that allowed her a unique opportunity to travel overseas to Morocco specifically to participate in the United States Department of State Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs program known as the Fulbright Global Classroom Teacher Grant. And we've asked Lynn this evening to come and share a little bit about her experience. So Lynn, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me come. I'd just like to say, first of all, I wore my Morocco dress. Some educator a long time ago told me that you had to have a visual aid, so. I don't.
This is the Moroccan version of blue jeans, by the way.
It's hard to talk about my experience in about 5 minutes, but I'm going to give you the short and condensed version, and I brought a few slides. So the picture that you're looking up there is the 13 teachers that represented the United States in Morocco. They were from all different disciplines and from all different parts of the country. The guy in the front was our kind of like our Iraq chaperone. He was in charge of making sure that we were all taken care of. The teacher on the far right was our in-house teacher in Morocco. And if you want to go to the next slide, we spent the first part of the field experience in Morocco with that teacher on the right. And if you want to just flip back to the top part of what I was talking about, you can stay on that slide. We had an online class in the fall which went from beginning of September all the way to December. It was pretty intensive, and it was all about sustainability goals, and I'm like brain dead right now, I can't think of things, but we did lots of different lesson plans, a lot of collaboration with peers. There was a lot of new technology that I learned and had to implement. Some of those lessons I used in my classroom. And then Mr. O'Rourke went with me to the DC part of the experience, which was a symposium there where all of the teachers that were going to Morocco plus the 4 other countries gathered, and we learned more about global ed, and the superintendents and administrators learned what we had talked about all fall. They got a one-day crash course on global ed. And then after that, our group was the first field experience to go out, and we're since back. There's a group in Senegal right now. There's other teachers that are going to Indonesia, India, Senegal, Peru, Colombia, and Morocco. So those were the 5. It was a group of about 75 people. So it's a pretty big group of teachers that were elected. So going forward, when I come back, you know, what does this have to do with Lebanon High School? What's it going to do for the community? What's the purpose? Why is the United States buying into this program? Well, the idea is to come back and teach our communities about global education and sustainability and that kind of thing. So one of the things that I started doing with my own class is I decided this year I needed to have a bigger global focus, and I decided to read this book that I found called I Will Always Write Back. It was recommended by one of the English teachers in the high school department, and I used it with my certificate track kids, and we read about a pen pal relationship between a kid in Zimbabwe and a girl in Pennsylvania. So that's how we kind of added a little bit of more global ed in my classroom. I also made up a bunch of tiger postcards with tigers on them, and had probably about 100 kids from here write postcards to kids in Morocco. So I took them along, and then I got some communications back that I brought back from Morocco, and collected postcards and things. So we traded some Snapchat addresses and things so kids could kind of communicate and get to know some people from around the world. So that was kind of fun. Another thing I did, if you want to go to the next slide. I'm kind of skipping around here, but back in Morocco, I was in Rabat for a week, and that was with all those teachers that you saw the picture of. And then we went out into different areas of the country in pairs. And I was up in Oujda, which, when I saw O-U-J-D-A, I didn't even want to try to pronounce it. But it's up in the northeast, right near Algeria. So it was a very different atmosphere than Rabat, which is the capital of the country where the king lives and that kind of thing. So a librarian and I from Alabama, we were up in Oujda, and we had another host teacher, and she took us around for the whole week. We gave presentations in classrooms, visited a couple special needs programs, visited some high schools, participated in a debate with some students. So it wasn't just a touring opportunity. It was, we were in classrooms working with students every day. So that was pretty neat. What else did we do? The host teacher, culturally, she took us to some pretty neat experiences. One thing they do in Morocco is called a hammam, which was like really far out of my comfort zone. It's a traditional thing that they did before people had showers and bathing facilities in their homes. You went to the communal, call it almost like a club kind of now, but you go in there and you're totally naked with all the women in the community, and you get scrubbed down, and it was just a real like I said, out of comfort zone for me kind of thing. But when you're in Morocco, you do what the Moroccans do, and so we did that, and I got to go to a couple different Moroccan weddings, and so she took us to a lot of different cultural things too, in addition to the work that we did in the school. So that was pretty nice. Want to go on to the next one? That's a picture of me on the left with the Alabama teacher, and then the students are in the background. We're doing some photo shoot things. On the right is a picture of some students who brought some autistic toys and materials to this other center. So she had asked me to bring some things from the United States, so I took a box of toys that I thought would work well at their center, and we were part of that gifting to that agency. It was pretty fun to go with those kids that were Moroccan to be in this autistic center, because they had never been in a place like that before, and you could tell they were, you know, it was really tough for these, you know, higher, brighter kids to be in that kind of center, because in Morocco special education is pretty unheard of. So it was, you know, it was really different for them to have that experience. It was really good for them. And then on the left, that's a response to some letters that Mrs. Whipke's French kids wrote, and I took over, and then they wrote back, and one of them put a little necklace on their letter that they wrote back. On the right-hand side is a visit to a science center, which was comparable pretty much to our Children's Museum here in Indianapolis, where you go when you participate in hands-on things. They don't have a lot of materials in their classrooms and schools, and those kind of places are set up for teachers to take kids to, if you know, if they're lucky, if they have them in the area. And I think there's a couple more. I already talked about some of the things that I'm trying to do with my class here. I made a bunch of posters. These are listed there in the slide. It talks about the sustainability goals from the UN. They're all in different categories, and they did a lot of teaching in the online class about how to find materials and how to bring in global impact into things that we're already doing, which is, you know, really important, because all of us teachers, you know, have plenty to do already. So it's how you incorporate things into your existing curriculum, not adding more to your plate, if that makes sense. And then they also have grant money that's available through Fulbright that you can get to help those communities back in those countries that you're visiting, which is, you know, kind of a nice tie. Since we've been there, we know what they need and what they don't have, so we can work with those partner people that we met to try to get them some supplies and things. There's an example of one of the talks that I gave on the left-hand side, and then the other one is working with some students. I think there's one more slide, and that's just a picture of me. You know, like, I think that was the first night there. So, in a nutshell, that's my 5 minutes. So I don't know. But, you know, if anybody has any questions, or that kind of gives you a little flavor of what we did and what it was about, and, you know, I would highly recommend it for other teachers. It's a very good program. They have different experiences. Some of them are 2 weeks long, some of them are semester, some of them are year-long experiences. It just depends on what you want to do and if you get picked.
Yeah.
So,
Great experience.
yeah, thank you.
Lynn, I was going to ask you what your most unusual moment was, but I think the communal shower.
Yeah,
does that.
and I don't know why
We'll go
I
to my
started
next
telling you about
question.
that, but, you know,
Well,
it's nerves.
What for you was a professional highlight as an educator?
Probably going to that center, because, like I said, special ed really isn't something over there. Whenever you mention special ed, they come up with the word autistic, and that's not really what we know special ed is. And the people, the students that I saw were way more than autistic. They had all kinds of other needs, and there's little bits and pieces, but a lot of those kids don't go to school. Even a lot of the kids that are, you know, that should be in general ed don't go to school because there's no transportation. You know, their parents don't send them to school because they don't want to walk 5 kilometers in the morning, and they're afraid something's going to happen to their little girls, and you know, it's very different.
I want to thank you.
Yeah.
That this is, first, the board, I think it's important to realize this is a highly competitive selection process. And so just the fact that Lynn was one willing to take on new experiences and one compete for this is one thing, but to be selected is an extreme honor. And it's not only an honor for you personally, professionally, but for us as well to have you there. And I know Mr. O'Rourke and the staff at the high school are very proud of you, as we are here in the corporation. It's just not jump on a plane, fly there, tour around, and fly back.
Right,
There's
right.
sights and sounds and smells.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be with you for a long time, and you'll be able to convey that to your children. So, thank you
Another-
very much.
Yeah, if I can just add one other little funny story. My husband came to meet me at the end of the experience, and you know, you kind of get used to the third world thing after about 5 or 6 days. Well, he's, you know, green off the plane, and we're driving into this area of town where we were going to stay. It was called the Riad, which is similar to a bed and breakfast. Well, but the streets there are very dirty, and it was under construction, and it's not like under construction in our world. It's the donkey cart and the lady selling her stuff, and cars parked everywhere, and dirt and dust, and I mean, he just looked at me like, take me back to the airport. You know? So it was kind of fun. I just kept smiling and chuckling and telling, you're gonna be okay, it's fine, you know, but, so, he had a good time. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Item number 9, recommendation for 2019-2020 curriculum-related rental and fees for LMS and LHS. Mr. Tate.
Yes, last month we did the book rental curriculum-related fees for the elementary. So I bring to you this month the middle school and the high school. And difference here is their book rental and course fees are directly related to the courses they take. So each child can be different from each child, depending on what they take. So the information's in your background notes, so ask approval for the middle school and high school fees for the 1920 school year.
Can I get a motion? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Was there any notable big differences in?
Middle school, there was actually no differences. The high school, there's one large one, the medical terminology, that's a consumable book, and I believe that went up like $25.
Okay.
So that was a noticeable increase for that one course.
Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request permission to apply for Common School Tech Loan. Mr. Tate.
Yes, the spring tech loan applications are available for schools at this time. Traditionally, we apply for 1 or 2 every year to cover the cost of the iPads and the laptops, so the full brunt is not on our parents. So I'd like permission to apply for this cycle of Common School loans. They'll be, the funds will be put towards the elementary iPads payments as we go forward. We usually pay this off in 1 year, so we'll have 2 going off, this one coming on. If we do another one in the fall, that'll come on. So one's replacing the other, basically.
Can I get a motion to apply for Common School Tech Loan?
Motion.
Lisa? Okay, a second?
I'll second.
What's the amount on that, Charles?
So you're allowed $100 per student maximum.
Okay, that's what I thought there was a max on this. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Tate again, recommendation for purchase of a domestic hot water unit for LMS.
Yes, we'd like to replace the basically 25-year-old unit at the middle school. We've had some maintenance issues with it. Also, we can get a return on our investment with a more efficient unit. So 3 bids were presented. 1 bid was incomplete. The plumber supply bid was incomplete, so we're ruling that out. So I'd like to award the bid to A.B. Young for $29,674.
Get a motion to award the bid to A.B. Young for the domestic hot water unit at LMS.
Make the motion.
Get a second? Michael? Questions?
Charles, does that include any maintenance contract or anything like that?
It has a warranty, I'm sure, Don. Length of the warranty.
There's a 1-year warranty, pricing for an additional.
Thank you.
questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, Mr. Tate, we need to install this
Now
domestic
we need to
water heater.
install this now that we bought it. So there's 3 bids for installing this. Deem is our low bidder at $22,760. I'd like to award the contract for the installation to Deem.
Okay, a motion for the installation approval.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
I'll second. What is the big difference in the prices? That's a big,
Yeah, you notice that we had bids for the equipment, bids for the labor, and then a combined bid.
yeah?
And the combined bids were actually more than doing these separately, so that's why I'm bringing it to you separately.
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying, so that, okay.
Yeah,
So
so
the others were too.
in your background notes, there's another
Okay.
sheet that says bundled the equipment and the labor, so combined, we're a little over 52,000, where if we took one of these bundled bids, so we're saving 30,000 by
Yep.
buying the equipment and having Deem install it.
Any more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank Don for his work on these bids with that.
Mr. Smith, the approval for the Lebanon Schools Police Policy Manual. This is our third, do you have any comments? No. Okay, this is our third.
This is third reading, and so by policy, we have had a first reading or review, a second reading where there was entertained any questions. Chief Smith provided any updates that you had either privately in conversation or publicly. Third meeting is the vote that goes before the board for approval, but this does not solidify the policy as is. It is a living document, and as Chief Smith goes through the process of implementation, and that we go through the process of living with it, there's a good likelihood we'll be coming back. People will be coming back to the board to ask for a certain certain changes and things. We've done that. But so as third reading, I would ask that the board consider this policy as submitted by Chief Smith for approval and to be included in our administrative policies and guidelines at this point.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the Lebanon School Police Policy Manual.
I'll make the motion.
Second? I know at the last meeting that I made a comment about something about mental health, and Chief Smith did reach out to me, explain what Lexi Pool, which is the writers of the document, went over, and I agree with that. So thank you. This is something that we've needed for a long time, and thank you for going through. I know it's a long process, and it's an ongoing process too. So I appreciate your efforts there. Any other questions, comments?
No.
All those in favor approving the Lebanon Schools Police Policy Manual signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Some field trips, new business, Mr. Tate?
Yes, multiple requests here. The first coming from our FFA program with multiple trips for this upcoming school year. Mr. Dardini's done a great job of listing the purpose for the trip, permission slips, transportation expenses, chaperones on all those trips upcoming, some overnight, some out of state, followed by the high school request for an overseas French trip in June of 2021, followed by Central Elementary's annual 4th grade trip to Camp Tecumseh, and followed by Perry Worth's annual 5th grade trip to Chicago. So requesting permission for all of those upcoming trips.
Okay, can I get a motion for all of the trips that Mr. Tate just said?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Just a reminder to the board, any overseas trip that we take is always based on the recommendation and guideline of the State Department at the time, whatever travel advisory, and I don't believe Mrs. Decker's here this evening, but there's also opportunity for insurance to be in place. So that has been past practice for the last several overseas trips, and that'll again be in place this trip. 2021 seems like a far time away, but it'll be here before we know it. And so we'll, at this point, abide by those same guidelines unless the board deems different. Thank you very much.
Other business. We got May 10th, 2019, the State of LCSC here in the Herman B. Wells Room at 10 a.m. And then May 21st is our regular board meeting here in the Herman B. Wells Room.
When is the teacher celebration again?
Teacher celebration is May 7th. Looking out there to make sure I got that right. That's also here in the Herman B. Wells. We extend an invitation. It's a great time. We not only recognize Teachers of the Year, we recognize retiring teachers, we recognize individual accomplishments with tenure in our corporation. It's just a nice end of the year celebration of our staff and what they mean and do for our students.
When is awards day?
Well, there's several.
Here at the high school.
High school here, the scholarship awards is May 15th. I'm going to look at Mr. O'Rourke, but I think I have that nailed in the evening. Yeah, at 7 o'clock, and that's in the auditorium.
The 15th?
Yeah. And then elementary principals are here, different awards days. Again, as I shared, those are on websites, but we'll also, Mel will get a copy of those out to the board. She's done a really good job of compiling into the year activities for me, because I need that. Not that you guys do, but I'm sure she'll also share that with you if
Oh,
you'd like.
we got 'em.
Okay. Did you get them already? Good. All right, so we're good. She's ahead of the game.
She is very much ahead of the game. A little update on the superintendent search. We have chosen a candidate. We are slated and we're working through contracts now, and we have a public hearing on April 26th for that contract. And then we will be approving that contract with name on May 3rd. So I just want to thank everybody on the board and everybody that has given us input through this process. It's been a very long, trying at times, but I think that I'm really pleased with how it ended up. So I just want to thank all of you guys publicly for the time that we've put into this. There's been a lot of time spent, so. Anything else?
Stop arm violations?
Oh! Chief Smith.
Well, the numbers have just about stayed the same. We're at 98 reported by the bus drivers. Written, we've only written, they've been able to write 34. 64 we weren't able to write for various reasons, either the camera didn't catch it, or there were multiple people, not enough descriptions on the drivers. We are at least 25 have already taken penalty or been found guilty, and 8 are still pending. We have one that was found guilty last first one right off the bat.
How much is that fine?
$235 to 6 points anyway.
Has that bill, I know there's a bill right now in the legislation. Is it still going?
It has gone through both the House and the Senate, went through committee hearing, and so I do not foresee that one. That's like kissing babies. They would not do well to take that down. So I would anticipate that will come into law at the close of this legislative session.
And I think it's a $10,000 fine.
There's also a loss of a
And
license.
the losses of license.
It kind of equates to
90
DWI.
It's like 90 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it's much stiffer.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
as, you know, Chief Smith and Officer Ritchie can attest that it doesn't seem 200, to me, $200+ is pretty stiff, 6 points. It doesn't seem to get too much attention, so we'll see. We continue to keep our fingers crossed and say our prayers that no one gets hurt and injured. But I will say that, again, we are doing our due diligence, and to be quite honest, we're ahead of a number of school corporations, a majority of the school corporations in the state of Indiana, and not only enforcement, but also equipping our buses and training our drivers.
And Fox 59 Road,
Today.
Ms. Totterud, I think was that today?
Yes, they
Yeah.
rode along on
Dave, the fact they reached out, I felt
Oh, yeah.
very positive about that. I mean, they contacted Jen and, obviously, again, recognized. And I was at the State House earlier, this month, and it was pointed out to me that, Lebanon Schools has been used as kind of an example of being proactive in this neighborhood, in this venue of stop arm violations. So I think we've done a really good job.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying.
Well,
Yeah.
we did.
An effort's being
I mean,
made.
that's trying.
Yeah,
Doing something.
Yep.
thank you.
Anything else?
Oh, one other thing, I found out this week on school buses that there's an option on there that you can put on for air conditioning for the drivers. And it's too late for this year, right, Charles?
We would have to scratch the bids, and we've already placed the orders.
Right.
I
But for
would not
next
want to
year-
start over.
But for next year, it could be looked into.
It can be considered.
Why
yes.
considered?
Well, it can be considered.
Okay.
They don't have, I didn't know they did.
Yeah, they don't have air conditioning on them for the drivers. It's just for the drivers. It's not for the whole bus. If you talk to bus drivers, they get hot,
Yeah, I guess.
and there's enough pressure on them already. And to me, it seems like, and you'll appreciate this, Charles, if we can spend over $30,000 to cover that gym floor for 2 days out of the year, we could spend $1,700 a bus for air conditioning, the way I see it.
And I appreciate that. There'd be more involved than just the 1,700. There's maintenance involved, there's
Right.
equipment involved and so forth. So it can be considered. As I've stated to you, I'm not really in favor of it. I think we can spend our money differently, but we can certainly
like
discuss
what?
it.
I'm just saying, we have trouble getting bus drivers, right?
Well, actually, we do pretty good. I would actually like to put more money into their pay if we're gonna try and get more drivers. But we can discuss that later.
You don't want to discuss it.
Through the new bid process, that's an opportunity that we can work with Charles next year to take a look at that. Feasibility would also be a consideration.
Mhm.
And then, I think it's viable. I think there has to be a lot of exploration as to pros and cons and cost effectiveness. But we appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
You can call Western Boone, they have it. So you don't have to go too far to find out, if you want to.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
We appreciate
That's
it.
all I ask.
Thank you.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.